Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Create or Destroy Water.
Whoosh. Sucking water up and blowing it up, or dissipating it, disintegrating it, drawing it out, something to that effect. This is a cleric druid spell. It's a first level spell. It is cast time and actions, full conjuration, range 30 foot, duration instantaneous. It's got verbal, somatic, material components, requiring, which is kind of ironic, a drop of water if creating water, or a few grains of sand if destroying it. So if you don't have water, you can't create water.
Chicken and egg. Catch 22.
Indeed. You either
you could spit, right?
I mean, if you're not like literally parched.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. You can, this is the actual text. You either create or destroy water. And then it says create water. You can create up to 10 gallons of clean water within range in an open container. Alternatively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube within range, extinguish exposed flames in the area. So it's like a quick little psh, and it's gone. And then the other text is destroy water. So you destroy up to 10 gallons of water in an open container within range. So the water has to be in an open container and it has to be within range, which is 30 feet. Alternatively, you destroy a fog in 30-foot cube within range. So you'd be like, that fog cloud is gone now, huzzah. And then at higher levels, when you cast the spell using a second level spell slot or higher, you can destroy 10 additional gallons of water, or the size of the cube increased by 5 feet for each slot above first. Sorry, create or destroy. So you can make more water, you can destroy more water, you can destroy larger cubes of fog.
Sure. Yes. Now, cubes of fog, does that include like gaseous spells, like cloud kill or anything? Or it's
yes.
Just... Oh, really?
If it's specifically fog cloud, yes.
No, I mean that's a cloud.
If we're talking about cloud kill specifically, okay. Listen, I'll be level with you. I think it should dispel cloud kill. I'm reading cloud kill right now. You create a small sphere of poisonous yellow-green fog.
Oh.
So yes, it does.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you can find the word fog in text, it will affect it. So that's neat.
All right. Well, that's makes this some kind of useful.
I don't know if that's true.
Not very, because it's only how big it's a limited amount of that the entire spell. 30-foot cube.
30-foot cube does hit most of the 20-foot sphere radius of cloud kill. So it will kill most of a cloud kill for a first level spell. And if you upcast it, it kills all of the cloud kill eventually. So like you just need to get 40-foot cube. The 40-foot cube will fit a 20-foot sphere radius. Yes.
But then
so it's a third level spell.
Gust of wind would do the same thing, huh?
Yeah, that's where this real nail on the coffin moment happens. Whenever you realize that the gust cantrip probably does everything this does better.
Yeah,
that's not necessarily where you want to be. So okay, let's discuss. You're a cleric and you're mandated to put create or destroy water on your sheet. What do you do with that?
I guess they have some tables that play like the survivalist kind of game where they're keeping track of every morsel of food you have, and if you're out in the desert, this can help you survive a little while. You create some water and drink it and don't die, or die more slowly.
I mean, you do want to like a 10-gallon jug, so you do want to have a way to make sure it does fill. But yeah, that is the natural first inclination to be like, oh, this is a survival tool, right? It makes you 10 gallons of water. Huzzah, we can drink and not have to worry about our water skins anymore. Have you ever played at those tables?
No.
I haven't either. I also haven't heard many stories of people who do play at those tables. So, like, I'm not convinced that's much of an argument anymore. I think that there are more hardcore games, like even like the OG Pathfinder, I think is a better system for that kind of gameplay than 5th edition is. And I think that's going to lead this kind of mechanic to not really be a justifiable reason to put it on your sheet. So what else? What else can we do with this at your tables? Let's say tomorrow, Bob, you wake up and your rogue can cast, create, or destroy water. What do you do with it?
Sam, I got nothing for my tables. I'm still trying to think like any use at all. And the other one I've got here, if you're playing a race with water dependency, like a grung, and I think you need to be completely submerged. So I don't even know if 10 gallons is enough unless you have like a loose fitting scuba diving suit or something that you could just pour inside you and swish around in.
That's kind of fun. I like that conceptually.
So
you're like 2.5 to 3.5 feet tall. You can fit in a 10-gallon bucket, right? Just really squeeze in
how big is? I'm thinking of a gallon. It's like a milk jug. How big is 10 milk jugs?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I'm thinking of like a 10-gallon fish tank, which is like it's a little long cube, like yeah. A
Yeah,
little
I guess if
2.5
you
foot squeeze them in.
contorted yourself. But you know what? If you got 10 gallons, you want the tank to be a little bit bigger because you will be displacing some of this water.
Yeah, sure, but you don't need like all 10 gallons at that point. As long as you're like reasonably submerged, you'll be fine.
That's not where I want to be when my survival is on the line.
Sure. So I think
If I'm a grung in the desert, I want to be sure.
all right, so for all you grungs in the desert out there, this is the first spell you take. For everyone else, I think this is kind of, and this is how I've only ever seen it used. This is a spell that you take whenever you're trying to push the DM to figure out how physics work. This is the kind of spell where you go, okay, it doesn't specify it has to be a fit in the open container. It simply creates 10 gallons of clean water in an open container. So what quantifies as an open container? Is it just anything that can hold liquids that has an opening, in which case that includes people? And you'll get lots of instances where people try and do some pretty wacky, bizarre things with this that involve, lethally exploding people by spontaneously filling them with 10 gallons of water. Now, that option, I obviously think is very much stretching the definition of what a container is and doesn't really qualify for what other, modes it kind of has. I'm more interested in finding ways to use a high pressurized amount of water by having it fill a container that you can either squeeze or it already doesn't fit in and needs to go somewhere. So like it breaks the boundaries of something and pushes it all out in a giant burst. And
like
then
a
we have
bottle cap.
Yeah. And then we have some really interesting applications to say, okay, what happens when that occurs? Most tables don't want to figure that out. Most tables aren't going to think to try that. There will be some that like doing the physics behind it, that like going through what happens whenever you spontaneously put a huge amount of a quantity of substance in something that it doesn't fit, it'll explode, you'll get a big burst of water. You could do things where like you leave a water skin somewhere and then explode it with create or destroy water to just blast water everywhere. And then I have to ask, okay, how useful is that? But the answer is maybe it's sometimes useful. Sometimes you use it to like break open a barrel that's too small to hold all the liquids. Sometimes you use it to like, the tankard on the back wall is mostly full of beer. You need a distraction. I'm going to create water in that open tankard that's, that they're pouring from right now, and it breaks the top off and shoots beer everywhere. And now you have a little utility tool that has some other use cases beyond just making a grung able to survive in the desert.
That's going to be very heavily DM dependent. And I think most of them are going to say, you know what? It doesn't say that in the description. We're not doing that. Congratulations. You're wet. The orc stabs you.
In this instance, you wouldn't even be wet because the spell wouldn't even have that effect. It would just do nothing, right? So, like,
I mean, I could see like, all right, you try something, all right, I'm gonna do it in that open tankard, and it just overflows, and that's fine. But
sure.
What I was thinking is, 10 gallons of water, and for the sake of argument of upcasting it, anyway, water's heavy. If there's if you're on some scaffolding or something and there's a bucket, I don't know, there's something there that can contain the water, and this might make the difference of just collapsing everything or not.
Yeah, you just need a really large vessel, and then you'd be like, okay, we're going to carry on this light large vessel that we'll use as a very heavy weight if we can spontaneously create 50 gallons of water.
I was thinking more like something that's already there. Like
there just happens to be barrels around or crates or whatever.
I mean, barrel, that's not unreasonable. Of course, if there are barrels there that are meant to be filled with something, then
they're probably filled with something.
Or the structure can withstand that kind of weight.
That's true.
This is the sort of thing I use because 3rd edition rules with the mount spell. You just bring up a horse in places that horses shouldn't be.
Well, so like that's I think goes back to talking about the physics of it, right? Some players are going to find that few players are going to find that spontaneously creating 80 pounds of water, which is what the spell function does, because a gallon of water is apparently roughly 8.34 pounds. So 10 gallons is 80 pounds. Nice. Having a tool that does that could allow for some moments where the rickety bridge, you just go, it's just going to have 80 pounds worth of extra force on it right now because that's what we need. That is a cute little tool to have in your back pocket if you like mitigating and thinking about that level of spell description. We haven't talked about any other spell like this before, though, have we? Where we're like, okay, what does the weight find Stee to bring to the table? Like, how does a familiar's size and dimensions affect its usability?
Yeah.
So I think that should be an indicator that maybe the spell isn't great. But it does, I
Oh, no.
think, lend itself to these conversations, and it's kind of this is going to be one of those first steps where players are going to figure out how to push the boundaries of their DM and figure out where the rules versus, like, rules as written versus intended kind of start to exist, how you have to start buying into some of the game's terms and make specific assumptions so that things work in ways the way they're supposed to. And that's, I think, probably the most use the spell actually has as far as practicality. When's the last time you've been like, man, I really wish we had an extra 80 pounds right now in D&D?
Yeah, but I'm saying, or it could be like a DM tool. Set up a simple little puzzle. If you know your players have this spell, there's a seesaw with a tank on one end, and you need to go up to this ledge up here.
Every single member of the party needs to go up there, obviously. Yes. It only is solved by filling that with exactly the right amount of liquid, obviously.
All right. There's also destroy water. So what you were saying before, blow somebody up by using their mouth as an open container. The flip side of that, cast it on them, turn them into a raisin. Yeah.
Yeah. People need water in them to survive. Now, whether or not that actually works, it's very well established that doesn't work. So that one I find like even more so is like that there's no shot that you're doing anything with this. I think there's like a really cute, at least magical image of like just a person that just starts vomiting water, right? Just out the fire hose out their mouth, and that's fun. Whereas just being like, I cast a first level spell and I kill you with like a power word kill is a lot less whimsical. It's a lot more like
they just shrivel up like a mummy.
Yeah. The other question is like how much water is in a human being at a given time, and then you have to ask that question for like Goliaths and Tabaxis and halflings and stuff, which is a weird question to ask that will get posed with this. Alternatively, you could use it to like temporarily like drain a small, like it's such a small amount of water for destroy. Like 10 gallons is in the scope of big things is very small, and there's not often, like, how often do you come across a barrel and go, man, I wish this barrel was empty and there's water in it, so as opposed to tipping the barrel, I'm going to destroy the water.
Yeah. I don't have a ladle.
Yeah. Do you use this to kill fish in fish tanks? Is that what this is?
That's what I was thinking. Like, if you cast Speak with Animals and you're trying to get information out of a fish, but he's not forthcoming, you cast it. Oh, you want to talk now, buddy?
Fish interrogation, top use case so far of create or destroy water. There's also like it also creates rain, so it like puts out fires, so conceivably as a little first level spell to douse flames could be done by shape water, but if you want a first level codified way to do it, this is a way to do it. Maybe you're playing with an arsonist and you're the firefighter there, running around like torching the environment kind of deal. It's bad. I don't think there's much room on any character sheet for this. I'm glad it exists. It's a cute little spell. It definitely costs the exact right amount for something that is this inconsequential, because if it were a cantrip, it'd be like, oh, you can just make infinite water? That's only going to lead to Munchkin nonsense.
The land masses are changing shape.
You just, like, the ocean is technically a container, right? Like, the land masses are containing the liquid. Great. Create water, create water, create water, create water, and just do that for centuries because you're an elf, and you'll see what happens. But right. As a first level spell, I think this is like, it gives you a little tool to go like, how do spells work? And as an example spell, that's pretty fine. I think that's pretty obvious. I think you probably could bundle in a little bit of what Shape Water does to this to make it a lot more interesting and usable, but for what it is, I don't hate it.
Or just like add this to Shape Water and combine the spells there.
Yeah. I think something like that.
I don't think anybody's taking this. Well, you know what? I bet I'm wrong. But other people will take this.
It's got that fun little like brain scratching, how do I make this good text to it, where it's like, but it's so much water. It's 80 pounds of water. There has to be something I can do with 80 pounds of water. But people haven't taken it for that reason.
All right. So what do you rate this one?
I think it's a 1. I think it's pretty much uncastable. I really don't think there's almost any need to put this on a character sheet in the modern day and age. I don't think the Munchkin nonsense you can do with it is all that compelling, nor is it like particularly powerful. It's fun. Needing it to be in a container just hamstrings us every which way, and having to have a DM say yes to any of the ideas, because like it's either I'm blowing people heads up with this, or it does nothing, and no DM is going to let you blow up heads with this, so it does nothing.
Yeah. No, it's not. You're not blowing up heads. You're not making mummies out of living people. However, I think I have faith in humanity. I think somebody can come up with something useful for this. I think I think people have probably had fun with this before.
Sure.
On the basis of faith alone, I shall give it a 2.
Bob, I think people have fun with the store value sometimes. It's still garbage.
Yeah.
Spells, I think this is an important distinction. Spells are allowed to be this bad and still be fun. I think this is a fun spell that is really, really bad, and that's okay. You can take the spell without it being like raw power and just expect like, oh, this is probably not going to do anything, but it might be fun once in a while.
All right. Still, raw faith. I'm giving it a 2. Somebody can justify that in the comments. All right. Speaking of comments, let us know what you think about create or destroy water. What did we miss? What amazing things have you done with this?
Wouldn't it be really cool if they just looped, like it already destroys fog? Why can't this also be a fog cloud? Just tie that spell to this. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let us know in your comments. What spells would you attach to this, or how have you used it? Why is it baller? Why am I wrong? Why is it at least better than a 1?
All right. Well, thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Like and subscribe and all that, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.